I'm watching the advertising on my other screen, and I'm waiting for the advert to end, if you guys are wondering why I'm going so long. How many advertisements are playing at the beginning of this damn live stream? Man, YouTube, you suck. It's gonna be really embarrassing if there's no sound, eh? You know what? I'm pretty sure that's going to be over for anyone who skipped the advertising, so I may as well just move on. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you guys to get bored with that, because I don't know what else I would do over the advertisements otherwise. Now, let's put on the cans. And let's mute the YouTube page. And let's do a little chitty in the chatty. Wow, look at all those people. I hope you've all hit that thumbs up. I'm going to have a sip of tea before we start this evening. Tea is, as I always say, a good drink. Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to another Tuesday night extravaganza here at the Raindance Bushcraft channel of love. This will likely be my last time utilizing this microphone. This is a Behringer. I don't remember the model name. Got a late Christmas gift, and I don't know if I've shown this to you guys before. My wife is very cool. I was very surprised, and I'm very jazzed. I'm just waiting. I got a Fet head signal lifter to go with it. But since I did not buy it from Amazon, I'm going to have to wait a realistic amount of time for it to come. So I'm hoping that tonight is my last time with this microphone. I have here an empty glass. I have over here a whiskey. Here I got some water. We're good to go. Before we get started, I would like to do the usual house cleaning things. First of all, let's get those lips back in business, shall we? First of all, if you are in fact watching us time shifted to tomorrow or next week or any other time of the year in the future, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. I love having your eyes on the screen while my content is playing, even if you can't be commenting and chit-chatting live. Excuse me. Aside from that, if at any point tonight you do love what's happening or you do like what's happening, please hit that thumbs up. If at any point tonight you kind of hate what's going on, that's all right. Hit the thumbs down. So what are we talking about tonight? I want to know what you guys are planning to do for 2022 in terms of your outdoors or your homestead or your off-grid cabin, or are you looking to buy a piece of property out in the country this year? Are you looking to get into tree ID or something? Anything that you've sort of got on your outdoorsy list for 2022, if you have anything. If you don't have anything you want to learn in 2022 or do in 2022, what's your best outdoorsy memory of 2021? Anything like that. I'm just taking a look. There's a whole bunch of people here already, so I'm just going to sort of swing through, scroll up a bit, and say hi to everyone. Jackie is here. Nice to see you, Jackie. That is Jackie Blanchard, to those who don't know her, formerly known as Backpack Jack here on YouTube. Jackie, I never asked you why you changed that channel name. If you want to mention that in the side chat here why you changed your channel name, then that is terrific. If not, that's all right. I'll ask you in private. Hey there, Linda. How's it going? Excuse me. Canadian in the house. Nice to see your name showing up. And same with SV Raven, who I believe lives in the Mitten. Yes, he says howdy from the Mitten. Lipstick Lodge says, It was minus 22 this morning. Yeah, it was minus 24, 25 here, minus 30-ish with the wind chill. So we did not spend a lot of time outdoors today, let me tell you. I went out a little bit, ran out, did some groceries, but I was not. Because I have two kids stuck at home because of the plague. I like to sort of at lunchtime go outside. Don't come back in until your noses are cold. But today and yesterday it was just too cold. Raven says, a rare work from home night for me, so got to see Canoe Hound live and now Jess. I am going to be watching Canoe Hound's live stream, time shifted to tomorrow, as I do every week. So don't spoil anything for me. Charles W., how's it going? Nice to see you yet again this week. Cliff says he's not the first, but he's definitely the worst. Fair enough. Hi there, David Evans. How is it going? And of course, Russell, the famous Russell of Raspberry Rock, is here. Russell got me a gift this week. I'm not sure if I should mention it though, Russell, but let me know if it's a secret or not before I go showing it off. Angie. Hi, Angie. Hi, Sharon. Look at all these great people we got here. We got Mark Putmans in the house. Salut, monsieur. Comment ça va? No, it's not the new mic yet. I'm waiting for my fat head to arrive because the thing about the 7B is that it's a very low signal mic. So you have to crank it so hard that you get a whole bunch of hiss because it's a radio mic. It's not like a USB mic, or it's not really a live streaming mic. It's a radio mic. So to not need a signal lifter on your cable, you need to have like a soundboard or an interface with plus 60 decibels. My little Scarlett it's not 60, it's like 24 or something. And the FET head, which is essentially, it's just a little interface that goes between the mic and the cable, that adds another 26 or whatever it is. So actually my box is more than 25 dB, but I don't remember. Anyways, but I bought from, I think, Vistech here in Canada instead of Amazon, because Amazon was expensive and there was duty and everything involved. Whereas if I just went to Vistech in Toronto, the price was cheaper and I didn't have to pay for all that stuff. Where was I? But yes, so I'm hoping that the new mic is going to be in action next week. Angie likes my t-shirt. Oh, look at that, huh? Look at that. Look at that. Thanks, Angie. The wife bought it for me because she's amazing. Nice gift. Oh, I see. I'm so late that, okay. Oh, SV Raven Flintlock. Let me tell you what my secret is, because I am quite good at it. All I do is I listen all year long. Whenever she says she kind of wants something in conversation or whatever, I take note. If she texts me something that she'd kind of like to have, and we're sort of getting on December, so I know that, or November, so I know she's not going to buy it herself, I just buy it. That way I know she's getting something she wants. Because I find that whenever I try to be clever, inevitably I kind of miss the mark. So Charles is working on closing property, remodel bungalow house, hopefully start on the beachfront house. Beachfront house. There's something that even in today's flood-addled days, beachfront house still sort of has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Hey, you know what I forgot to do? It's funny, man. Every week I come running in here, skid onto the chair, throw the computer into action, and it's like I never have time to really fully organize before coming online. Do I have battery? Yes, I do. There we go. All right. That's better. No, it's not, because it's not working. Tabernacle. Sorry, guys. There we bloody go. That's better. So who we got here? Shawnee. I was just talking to my husband about making a reservation to rent a cabin in the state parks to take the children to. It would be a first for us. I think that's a great idea. I support that fully, wholeheartedly. What a great idea. We couldn't reserve anything, any campgrounds or anything this year because nobody could do anything, so everyone went camping. When we finally did see the inside of a campground or a Quebec national park, the people who never do the outdoorsy thing have no idea how to not destroy the place. So it was kind of angry making, but I would still like to try to reserve something for next summer. Sharon says, what I want and what I get on the homestead build are two completely different things. Hey, Sharon, I'm not sure if I've said this to you, but I used to work in construction. It was a summer job, not a profession as such. I did it 5 summers in a row. That was my first summer job out in British Columbia. And and we've had this place redone a little bit, and obviously not the basement. Your experience with no-shows and stuff is not rare. It's not ideal, but most people do have a similar story. Well, not most, but lots of people have a similar story to yours to tell. This doesn't mean that you should, necessarily accept it, but it's what I saw when I worked in construction was that some entrepreneur contractors, because it's not a free job to start in, right? You're always spending money on tools or materials or blah or blah or blah, and sometimes these guys get stuck. They end up using the money from one job to buy the wood for the job that they'd already started because they're not doing their accounting properly. And these guys sometimes will start on a downhill, sort of a spiral, downward spiral. I mean, I'm not trying to scare you, but what I'm saying is, like, a lot of contractors are overbooking themselves to stay above water, especially these days. And we've come through a very, very expensive time in terms of materials and stuff. And some contractors actually walked away from projects because they could no longer afford to do the job at the price they quoted, because suddenly the price of lumber is like 4 times as high, kind of thing. So there's progress. At least there's progress. But stay on that guy. Absolutely stay on that guy. Shawnee's made a list of trails to take, a day trip and explore. Yep. Sounds terrific. Hey, Longsquest is here. How's it going? How far behind am I? Longsquest said hello at 9:06, and we're currently 9:14. Okay, I'm going to try and move it up a little bit. And this is, I'm going to ride my mountain bike and kayak a bunch. No more injuries, and hope to have my tiny house built. Whoops. Is it you or Sharon who's having trouble with the contractor right now? Suddenly I'm questioning myself. We're just going to move right along. Shawnee got a new cast iron pan. Nice. Is that a Lodge or something? That seems to be what a lot of people are getting now. Lodge. I have a Lodge cast iron pan. I don't think it's anything special, to be honest with you. It's all like made in America, made in USA, blah, blah, blah. But there's a couple of spots where the finish wasn't put on properly. Who cares? I can refinish a cast iron pan myself. But anyways, it's still a very nice pan, and I'm glad I have it. Longsquest says hi to Russell. Russell says it's a secret. And then he says hi to Skip. Charles also says hi, Skip. David has started bird watching and enjoying it. Yep, that was this time 2 years ago. I would not have been able to tell you that I have 4 bird feeders up in my backyard. That's for sure. But I do love it. It really does my head some good. So Angie says, outdoors 2022 planning, a girls' trip to Utah, Arizona, maybe Colorado for 2023. Fly and then camp and hit a ton of spots. Lots and lots of planning and creating itinerary options. Yeah, okay, that sounds cool. Utah, Arizona, depending on when you're going to Arizona, that could be like landing on the face of the sun. I mean, we were there in November and it wasn't that bad, but it could still get pretty hot. But I would not want to be there in June. But yeah, that sounds terrific. See, that's something I should do, Shawnee. I do sort of keep a journal of the birds I've seen using an app that I probably won't be able to find now. I have two apps. One is just this Merlin. Okay, it's a bird watching app. Of course, it's not going to be in focus because I'm using a. And then that's by Cornell University, and Cornell and Birds Canada have Project Feeder Watch because they're trying to get. Stop connecting because they're it's sort of a citizen science thing where you count up the birds who come to your feeders and you log cardinal 3, sparrows 12,000, dark-eyed juncos 60, kind of thing. Those aren't really the kind of numbers I'm seeing. Ian's here. How's it going? Yeah, I like Angie. I second what Cliff here says. Dress for heat, but take warmer clothes. Those days can get cold out of nowhere. Yeah, especially at night. Destiny Fitzgerald. Outdoorsy list for 2022. Off-grid cabin, food storage in summer. Oh yeah, root cellar. That's an excellent plan. Filling in the garden's hungry gap with live foods such as sprouts, etc. Yeah, I haven't even started planning my garden for this year. I know I need to get on that, but there's just too much else to do. I really want to rejig it this year. Maybe less of a focus on tomatoes because they choked out my peppers and everything this year. It was not a great year unless you like making like a tomato salad every 5 hours. Whoa. So Cliff, no good news. Car's still broken. Spare car broken now. Did get a raise. Oh, but that's going to be used to fix the vehicles. I told you about this 98 Camry that I used to drive and just drove. And I finally, like, it really started to go on me. And I finally just recycled it when I was about to take the on-ramp onto a highway and the entire, I'm trying to translate in my head, exhaust, like the whole pipe all the way to the beginning, all the way to the front of the car. Oops. Sorry about that. Just fell out. So I pulled over, ran over, sort of kicked the pipe out of the way, waited until it cooled off. Or I guess I figured it would be too hot to touch. So I just waited a few minutes, then picked it up, threw it into my car, and drove home, grumbling all the way. The car, I mean. And I was on my way out to the West Island of Montreal. There's a little forest area there to shoot a video. And I was like, oh, no video today. Went home, called to have the car recycled. Yeah, so Fox, oops. So if you may end up having to buy a car if all the cars are breaking on you. Yeah. Well, I'm already. Shawnee says, June, seeing the types of cactus and the age of them is interesting. I'm not sure if there are cactus where you live now. Oh, okay. Sharon says, in our case, he was working on his own cottage build. Okay. That sounds pretty crappy then. If he's taking time out of your stuff to build his own, that's the kind of thing that my dad would never have done. I mean, he was a carpenter for 40 years. He would never have done something like that. That is shifty. I'm just trying to skip to the bottom because I'm just so far behind. No, David, there isn't an app for squirrels too. There is a device you can use. It's called a taser. Hey, look who's here. Mr. Nate Muscuca. Yeah, I'm totally addicted to my bird feeders, man. I bring them in every week or two and I clean them up with a mild mild bleach solution, and I'm making sure that the feed is all, kept clean and all that kind of stuff. In fact, part of my 2022 plan is to get a hummingbird feeder to work. We put one up last year, but I think we were too late in the year. You kind of have to have that up in April so that they notice it, and then they'll hang out at it all summer, but we were too late. Russell says toasted tomato sandwich is awesome. Just putting that here, and that is the truth. I do love a nice tomato sandwich, and it does have to be toasted. Absolutely. Saw your first northern flicker. I don't think I've seen a northern flicker, Destiny. What I get mostly at my feeders are not the hairy woodpecker, the one that looks the same but with a slightly shorter snout. Fuzzy Wuzzy woodpecker. I'll look it up later. But anyways, there's one kind of woodpecker that comes. I see a fair number of cardinals, northern cardinals. A lot of dark-eyed juncos. Of course, a lot of house sparrows. There's a Cooper's hawk that comes around. What else do we get? Saw some blue jays, just like for 1 week and then gone, which is too bad because I loved it, man. I love seeing cardinals and blue jays in the same area because the cardinals were over there, and then suddenly these blue jays swooped in, and I wasn't sure if the blue jays were going to let the cardinals have any feed at all, but it seemed like they were okay. They were all sort of piling around, palling around. That's a word, right? Them and the dark-eyed juncos, which are pretty much becoming one of my favorite birds, I think. What else? There was lots of chickadees. Get a white-breasted nuthatch every now and again. That's about it. That's all I've seen so far. Yeah, with bacon, a toasted tomato with bacon, it works. Yeah, absolutely. We do not have cactus, but I've been to Scottsdale, Arizona on a work trip and was amazed at the cactus. Yeah. I don't think I saw a whole lot of cactus while we were in Arizona. There were some, but like, I guess we weren't in an area that was epic cactus land. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. Like, we saw some small things, small like desert plants, but nothing like those huge, whatever the heck they're called. Raspberry. Oh, you're a Miracle Whip guy. I don't do mayo very much, but when I do, I prefer straight up mayo to Miracle Whip. Little vegan mayo. Kidding. Just kidding. BLT with mayo and avocado and listening to Pink Floyd rules. Okay. I also like a BLT with mayo and avocado, I guess. I've never had it with avocado, but I could see very much. In fact, I might do the avocado instead of the mayo in that case. What I like to do, like 1,000 years ago, I was engaged to this Chilena, and what apparently her family did back in Chile for breakfast was make toast. You take your avocado, you mush it up, throw some salt on it, and then spread it on the bread. And ever since then, that's avocado toast for me. I jokingly say that I'm Gen X, so I crush the avocado like my dreams. But yeah, so I'd probably use the avocado instead of the mayo. Charles, the squirrels are ruining my life. That's bombast. They're not really ruining my life, but man, I wish they'd leave my bird feeders alone. Absolutely. Just wait till you're, Nate says, just wait till you're retired. You'll be out there in a Tilly vest and sombrero feeding the birds all day long by hand and by hat like Ace for sure. That sounds terrific, especially if I can get some nice, some cool birds coming. I'm just preparing for a little later. Now, usually when you pour yourself a whiskey, you don't go into the glass right away. You let it sit. And the rule of thumb is a minute in the glass per year in the cask. So if this whiskey was like a 10-year, then I would just let it sit for 10 minutes. If it's this is probably more like a 3-year because there's no age statement on it. So it's a little less, but I just like to let it sit there and open up a little bit anyway. Thank you, Andrew. Yes, a downy woodpecker. Exactly. David is thinking, okay, here's a plan for 2022. Nate, what we're talking about tonight is what are your outdoorsy or homesteady or off-griddy plans for 2022? Sort of trying to kick the year off right with some optimism. Because 2021 sure as hell didn't end with optimism. So David is thinking about building a bunkie, depending on lumber prices. You're going to be glad to hear that lumber prices are coming down. And they came down. They started coming down a few months ago, but it takes a long time for those prices to hit the retail side of the market because there are warehouses that have already bought their lumber at the inflated prices, still selling that lumber out. But it's starting to come down a little bit. It's still pretty expensive where I live, so I'm not planning anything too early in the year. Yeah, blue jays are beautiful with a very annoying squawk. Absolutely. I like them though. I don't necessarily have a problem with them. Destiny says super spoiled blue jays nursery. They demand their peanuts. A little bit like squirrels in my backyard. Linda says chickadees, blue jays, woodpeckers, squirrels chased away by blue jays. Chipmunk and 2 moose. Yeah, I didn't get any chipmunks or moose. Tenenbaum is asking if that's where avocado toast comes from. I don't really know. I do know that sort of the avocado toast that you see everywhere is just slices of avocado, laying on the toast with a sprinkle of rock salt and very Instagrammy. Crush, spread, sprinkle whatever you want on it. And done. Brown bread. I don't do that Kleenex bread. Sandwich bread. No way. To hell with it. Man, I can't tell you how disappointing it is when you crack open an avocado and see that it's all gone brown inside. That's why if it's too squishy, I'm like, are we going to do this? Better get some lemon juice out. Excuse me. Then just drinking a tropical tea. Just taking a look. Tim, how's it going? Hi, Tim. I realize I forgot to say hi, so I'm just sort of catching up on that. SV, I believe that you're just being a brat here. I am considering maybe putting like a squirrel feeder on the other side of the yard, like just throwing some nuts into a bowl or something and see if I can just distract them, get them to go to the other side of the yard. But I don't want to pull a stupid and do that so I suddenly have more squirrels in my backyard, because I feel that would be counterproductive. Russell doesn't drink anything without a best before date. Well, beer definitely has a best before date. And man, because beer doesn't get drunk as often in this household anymore, because I'm fat and my blood pressure. But I have had in the past year like 6 beer go way past their best before date, and like a couple of weeks past or maybe a month past, you're fine. But when you get to 3 months past the best before date and you crack and there's no hiss, it's just sort of, you pour it out and it's totally flat. It's like, oh, sip. Nope. That never used to happen in this house, let me tell you. Oh, Nate says, my partner and I have a budget to purchase property for a long-term plan, but it's got to be pretty ideal. So I guess you're in no hurry. That's not a 2022 plan, but it is a midterm plan. That's nice. That's cool. Especially where you live. It's probably going to be beautiful when you find a place. Oh, I see. It would have to be pretty ideal to pull the trigger right now, Nate. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's good to not be in a hurry. It's good to, because when you're not in a hurry, you can say, yeah, it's pretty nice. But this isn't really what we're looking for. And then inevitably, at some point, when you're not rushing it, something will present itself. What the hell is a floating bunny, is Russell? I mean, David obviously knows what it is. Nate says, other than that, the plan will be to spend 2 to 3 weeks up north at a family camp north of Blind River, off-grid, water access only. Did 12 days this September, wasn't quite enough. That sounds fabulous, Nate. Oh, bunkies, not a bunny. Okay, because Angie had to look it up. Destiny, it's true. Best before dates are kind of just suggestions in that whatever you're drinking or eating is good kind of appreciably past that date, like a good week if it's food items, or you're probably good for a month and a half on beer. They backload them to protect themselves. The theory being it's better to compost or throw away something good than it is to have someone eat your product and like get whatever botulism or something. I'm just pulling to get sick. So you're not wrong. You know what I'm saying? Also, I used to work in an organic grocery store, and that's where I learned that, if you take a pepper out of your fridge and it's kind of mushy on one side, just cut that part off. The rest of the pepper is fine. If the entire pepper is gone all fuzzy, just compost that thing. But, food waste bugs me nowadays. We do waste a fair amount. Some months we waste a lot. Some months we were really good. Tim says, my outdoor project is turning my front yard into a desertscape, complete with a dry river bed and succulents with some exotic plants like the kangaroo, paw bush, and lavender. There's a small corner of my yard under the red house bird feeder that some of you guys, especially if you guys are watching my shorts, you've probably seen it. I would like to plant there a few Quebec native plants that are bird friendly but don't have spikes or poisonous berries. I was going to do, there are a couple of native blueberry bushes, but that corner doesn't get enough sun for something like a blueberry bush. So I'm still on the hunt for what exactly I'm looking for. Hey, Tim, are you still stuck at home? Oh, David Evans, in fact, asks what I was trying not to. Are you still stuck at home? Yeah, actually, Robin says, hi, by the way. The underripe avocado is an equally unpleasant experience. That's true, too. I kind of feel that one's a little more obvious, though. Like you pick it up and it feels hard. Rock is a hard. What? Hard is a rock. And you're like, okay, let's put this in a bag, and hide it in the cupboard for a few days. PT goodness. However, I'm still drinking tea. Salut Simon, comment ça va, monsieur? Tu travailles ce soir ou quoi? Linda says, my shed is a bunkie type building. My dad turned his backyard shed into a bunkie. Beautifully done. Perfect. And then he had to build another smaller shed to put all the shed stuff into. But it was a really good job. Terrific. He just, he doesn't do anything by half measures when it comes to carpentry. I mean, after 4 decades or whatever, however long it was that he did it professionally, that makes perfect sense, He's got a good eye as well for design. Ian's the Web Lord says, I usually ex-nay things once the best before it is more than 5 years old. Well, you know what? That sounds funny, but I'm that way for IMPs. What's the American word for what's the American abbreviation for IMPs? Who the heck knows? Simo's going to know what an IMP is in American. But those military foods for soldiers, and it's like an envelope with like the mush of a shepherd's pie inside or whatever. And like, sometimes it comes with a self-heating bag or whatever, soldier food comes in a brown paper bag. Hold on. I need to do that one. Peu importe lequel, les avocados coûtent trop cher. No matter what, avocados are too expensive. Hey, Liz. Hi, Jess. I'm not an off-gridder or homesteader or anything like that, but can I join in anyways? Yeah. Do you have any kind of outdoor plans for 2022, Liz? Do you have a garden? Are you hoping to mow the lawn more often? Anything for 2022, just let me know. Tim says, if I'm negative on my next test, I'm released from COVID jail. Then watch out Newbury Park. I'm coming out to play. Oh, you find out in a day or two. Nice. I got my third dose. Okay, I don't see it as political to talk about having gotten your vaccine. If any of you guys do, let me know, and we'll just move right along before it gets uncomfortable. But I just wanted to say that my third dose left me with a sore arm and a little fatigue for a day or two. But Liz, also, Russell is right here. We were talking about toasted avocado sandwiches because they're delicious. We slipped into that conversation by accident. But it reminded me that I haven't had a tomato sandwich in a really long time. Oh. Just going back to, I just noticed on this preamplifier configuration, the SM7B has a sensitivity rating of minus 59 decibels and requires more gain than what most entry-level or mid-tier preamplifiers can deliver, minus mid-tier. Use an inline boost amplifier or a stronger preamp if your preamp does not have more than 60 decibels of gain. Yeah, so my little pre plus that fat head I was talking about will be fine. It'll work terrific. That's why I'm not using the new mic tonight. I'm just taking a quick look. Charles is off to the market because it is the middle of the day for him. Oh, okay, hold on. Raven says, my 2022 project is to build knives. I finished one. I have 2 more in process. I think that's really cool. What do they look like? Are you building sort of a basic woodlore style, or are you doing something a little crazier? I have long wanted to build knives. I built a knife in that I bought a blank from a guy in Norway or Finland. No, he was in Norway, I think. Finland? I think he's in Finland, actually. Saku Honkilati. And I got a child-sized one and made a knife for my daughter, a stacked birch handle knife for Camille, which I have a video shot but not yet edited, where we finally used it, which made me very, very happy. So that I hope will be up soon, either this week or next. But yeah, Raven, what kind of knives are they? What are you doing? Can we see pictures somewhere? Some recipes call for fuzzy peppers. Those are not the kind of recipes I would cook for me or my family. I don't believe we're still talking about the toasted tomato sandwiches. That's like the subject that just keeps on giving, Charles, Raven, Charles says it's a nice project and he's always wanted to learn. Simone says, plans for 2022. First, getting through that year. Second, at least a weekend of camping per month from May to October. Man, I wish I could say a weekend of camping per month. Man. Simone, you and I have the same problem in that we tend to work possibly too hard. One thing I have come to realize is that working too hard for someone else's company, how do I say this? We're worth more than that, right? Like if you work day and night and day and night for someone, to make someone else rich, then we have to keep some of that effort for ourselves. And I spent 2021, I spent half of 2021 like working really odd hours and stuff, and I really sort of toned it down because I felt that I discovered I was always tired and grumpier than I usually am, which for me is kind of a nightmare situation. And I realized, like if what we do is we go to work, we work hard, we come home, we watch So You Think You Can Dance, fall asleep, get up the next morning, go to work, work hard, come home, zone it in front of So You Think You Can Dance, fall asleep, go to bed, get up the next morning, go to work, come home, watch So You Think You Can Dance, doze off, go to bed. We're living beings. We have souls. We're ambulatory miracles. We're worth more than that. And that's why I do, well, before the COVID times, I did so many things. And after COVID times, I will not go back to doing as many things as I used to do because I was really burning the candle on both ends. But we all have an artist inside us. And when I say artist, I mean that could be a writer, that could be a sculptor, that could be a filmmaker, a YouTuber, a musician. That could be someone who really loves to cook. That could be someone who knits. That could be someone who wants to be a cat lady, take care of 9 cats and give them all an amazing little life. We're all more than just a human resource. That term really bugs me. Human resource. That's dehumanizing. I'm sort of getting way too close to being political, so I'm just going to shut up and move on. But I mean, and Simone, I noticed, like, sometimes when you and I talk about work, it's like we've both got to just, well, and I am very much, but we all got to remember to save some energy for ourselves. Oh, Canadian says, I was going to say, if you're bound up, go ahead and eat the fuzzy pepper. It will clean you out. No. Oh, yeah. I love street food videos, Russell. I love it. I started TikTok. I have one TikTok channel or whatever it's called for each of my YouTube channels. Like there's a Raindance one and there's a Dribs and Drabs one. Most of what I watch is cooking videos. I've fed my family with recipes I've gotten off of TikTok, I think 3 times in the past 4 weeks. Ian says, plans for 2022. Get out of London, Ontario, or any city to camp as many weekends as I can. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. If you can do even half of what you're planning to, then I would call that a win. Thank you, MRE. That's American for IMP. That tells me that I'm way behind. That comment was at, oh, I'm not that far behind. I'm 9 minutes behind. I'm just going to run down a bit. Wow. Okay. In your municipality, this is Nate, the rules are 10 by 10 with no plumbing equals no permit. Lots to be done inside of that, which I intend to explore. So that's kind of, I'd say that's like tiny house territory or bunkie territory. You can do a lot with that. Now, but would that be including or excluding anything like a porch, though? Cliff says, speaking of 2022, I'm going to be trying new things in the garden as well as slightly expanding what I already have. Going to turn my current compost space into a grow box for potatoes. I would love to grow potatoes. I would love to grow. Liz says, I'm hoping to become a PSW this year. Get right out of retail. What the heck is a PSW? No, I can't figure it out. I got nothing. What's a PSW, Liz? Angie's hoping for an overnight canoe trip in this year. That would be amazing, too. If I can get into a canoe at all this year, I'm going to call that a win. I got to do it. Got to figure it out. Got to find a way. I'm just trying to skip down a bit, making sure I'm not setting him off to a hot dog roast in the bush at my buddy's property. And for further into the year, many fishing trips. Yeah, more camping if possible. Kayaking, some quiet rivers with the missus. Nice. Nice. Oh, listen to that. David says, I don't know where you are in Ontario, Ian, but I have nice crown land near me with good lakes. So, David, I'll be over in about 4 hours, okay? Lipstick says she used to camp twice a month. One summer you did conservation areas. You can... What the hell is FETCA? I don't know what the FETCA is, but yeah, that sounds nice. Camping twice a month. Oof. I'm just skipping down a little bit. Yes, Tim, you have an artist inside you, and it's nice to see that you're letting that out. I think we all need to, because here's the thing. I sound really preachy when I start talking that way, but I'm talking to myself as well, because I do have months where by the time work is finished, I'm so exhausted. Like I can play a game or watch some YouTubes, do the dishes, and I'm done. And I'm trying to sort of not let that slip back into being my norm. Tim, SV Raven also paints. He's into acrylics. When I was a painter, my medium of choice was definitely watercolors. They're just magical. Very easy to bugger the whole thing, though, with watercolors. Definitely bunkie territory, excluding porch. Okay, would have to be raised unless you can find an unorganized township, which are getting rarer and rarer. Now, Sean James, his first cabin was in an unorganized township, wasn't it? I don't even know what that is. I don't know if we have anything like that here in Quebec. I mean, I have a hard time sometimes drawing parallels between something in Ontario and something in Quebec. Liz likes to work with older people and help them. Nice. Oh, personal support worker. Okay. All right. I used to work in an old folks home, sort of as a house cleaning. Like there were janitors, and then there was house cleaning, and yeah, there were some fairly happy people there, but there were a lot of people who just weren't. I'm never sure if that job left me with more negative feelings or more positive. I have caught up with the chat at 9 minutes to 10. But yeah, like what I would like to do this year, I have sort of the if life treats me well, and then I have the realistic. Realistic is I want to get my garden working better than it was last year. I like being out there. I love the smell of it after it's been watered. I like to dig around in the dirt. I like being able to put food that we grew on our table. I'm definitely going to pay way more attention to my bird feeders, find a way to eject squirrels from the top of my fence or something. Or maybe just, open the window an inch. I do have hopes to do some camping. I kind of feel that I should probably buy a car at some point so that if I decide to disappear for the weekend, like right now, if somebody invited me to a camping weekend, my first question would have to be, and it usually is like, can I get there by train? Because with a 3-year-old and a 10-year-old, I can't just take the family car and traipse off to Northern Ontario kind of thing. So I either have to rent a vehicle, which can be expensive, or take the train. Where was I? I don't really think I'm ready to buy a car right now, though. Beauty goodness. But it would definitely open up my options a little more. Because the wife and I used to each have our own car, but mine, fell apart, so I recycled it. Fox is asking if I have at least 4 to 5 square meters of free space. I don't have that much. I have very constrained space. Very, very constrained. I used to know the measurements of what we have for our garden. We used to have a much larger garden. We had all the way down the side of the garage, but we put in a pool, which kind of chopped out most of that. Yeah, cars are stupid expensive right now, and especially like the missus and I are on the same page in that our CX-5, our 2014 CX-5, which we have right now, is our last solely internal combustion engine car. Everything from here on in has to be some variant of a hybrid or an electric, which means that the prices for those kind of cars are a lot lower than they used to be compared to normal cars or traditional cars, but it still reduces, it narrows your budget options, right? Because you're not gonna buy you can't bottom out the budget and pick up a Yaris, or I don't even think they make the Yaris anymore, but so hey, Dennis is here. How's it going? Okay, hold on. Destiny says unorganized townships in Quebec are called unincorporated areas, territoire non organisé. Okay. Maybe I should look into that then, because that really opens up the freedom a little bit. Yeah, Canadian. That's the thing. Like, if I go somewhere this year, especially the early part of the year, I'm gonna have to get there by bus or train or rent a vehicle. Absolutely. Still drinking my tea though. I'm not starting that whiskey just yet. I just keep sniffing it. Funny thing, when we got home from, we went away for a few days because Christmas and New Year's were very small affairs. So we just sort of rented an Airbnb. In fact, I posted one video from that trip so far. And when we got back, at some point, I put my jacket on and I went into the backyard and came in and I was like, oh, I smell whiskey. And then I realized it's because I smelled the campfire, like, the campfire from a few days ago on my jacket. It was funny. Then it says 10 by 20 with a water tote added to the back inside. Didn't take water for now because the tote is outside for now. I'm having a loft or bed that raises up. Oh, that's your okay. Liz, I guess you're talking to Dennis there. Sorry I missed your show. You can do what I do and just watch the next day if you miss it live. Which is also, for people who miss my live stream or any live stream, unless it's Russell's because he doesn't leave them up. Anyway, so that's good. Hey, Dennis, what are your plans for 2022? Your outdoorsy plans? I'm not gonna grill you on your live stream plans because that's secret until they're out, until the episodes come out. But I mean, how much paddling are you going to be doing this year? What you got? What you got coming? And if you're asking Nate if he's going to be at work on Monday morning, are you planning to buy something? Are you getting equipped for a trip, an upcoming trip? Spilt the beans. Just taking a look. Yeah. Yeah, even used cars are getting expensive. That's true. David Evans says. I live in a province where I believe that I may be sitting in the most taxed province in Confederation, but I'm not entirely sure. Like, I think it's pretty rough in British Columbia as well, but we are heavily. What? You're going to have beer in your office? Damn it. I'm coming. That would make me really late for work. Dennis says some winter camping unlikely, 3 to 4 trips ranging from 3 to 9 days. That is the magic of not having young kids who depend on you. Because I would not be able to take that kind of trip. And I wouldn't want to right now. Like, we're at a point in Clemence's life where, like, every day she speaks a little better. And so I don't want to miss anything, so, like, whereas there are trips I want to take this year, I don't want to go for anything that's like the 9-day adventure kind of thing. Because I will feel that I'm going to miss too much. And in August, my band is doing that festival gig that we do every year in Alberta. And I'm probably going to be gone for like 7 days all told. Because we do a few other little gigs at the same time to make it worth their while. And I don't know. It's a bad time to miss, in my opinion, because there's magic happening in that tiny person. Go to Mew Lake in Algonquin Provincial Park this weekend. I'll be stopping to say hi to Nate. Okay, I get it. Hi, Evan. How's it going? Welcome to the live stream. We're just chatting about what our 2022 plans are in terms of outdoorsy stuff or gardening stuff or homesteading or off-gridding or hiking, camping. I don't know, dirt biking. I don't know. I don't really do things with engines, but, mountain biking. And I mean, I know people who dirt bike, so. We've been trying to figure out how to do that. We've tried a couple of times, and there's always buffering and blah blah blah. So I don't know, especially because the festival happens at the Thompson Resort, which is on Abraham Lake, and the signal there is horrible. Like, we have to stand above the office of the sort of motel in the most southwestern corner to be able to call our families. So what I like to do is, I'll shoot a little bit of video while we're there and put a like maybe a 10-minute vid together about it or something. Thank you, Liz. If you're liking what we're doing here, then please feel free to slap that like button. Sorry about that. So thanks to Liz for reminding me to remind you. There we go. So we're at 10 o'clock. If anyone would like to come on and briefly talk about their plans for this year, I could throw you an invite. I can throw the invite down. Definitely stay on subject. And if you want to come on briefly, tell a little story, and then go back to the side chat, that's terrific. If you have some interesting stuff to talk about for a little longer, that's good too. So maybe I'll just post the linkage. And if you don't want to come on, that's fine too. I could just keep blah 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 blah. That's fine as well. Excuse me. And if you do come on, remember my 3 rules: no guns, no politics. Why did I say 3 rules? That's for my other channel. My other channel is it's about whiskey. So my personal rules about whiskey purchasing are no secondary market, no collecting, and no Macallan. So I'm always like in the three rule sort of state of mind, I guess. Oh, Raven sent me pics of the knives. Through Discord. Let me see if I can find it. Which of the many platforms of communication did you use, Raven? Or did you send it to my Facebook or something? Because if I can find the picture and show it, then that would be amazing. Instant message. Okay. Message. Instant message. I am just changing my profile to Raindance Bushcraft because I'm pretty sure that that's where you sent it to. Staring at the other screen while I'm supposed to be entertaining you guys. That's really pro, right? SV Raven, are your initials JD by any chance? Yes, it is you. Okay, I shall click open these pictures. Can I share this? Can I share one of these? I'm going to try to move it so that... Okay. In that case, I shall share as a screen to show you guys. Vindo. So check this out. It's got a real nice kind of Nesmic feel to it. I like it. What's that handle made out of? What are those scales? Very nice. And how long is that? Is that like a little 3-inch blade? It looks shorter than your typical 4-inch. You got some jimping happening there. I wish that picture was bigger so that I could... Can I just blow it up maybe? Look at those little guys. Let's look a little closer to like an EDC or something. Well, unless those are 4-inch blades. It's hard to tell the scale. Oh. Nice size. Stop it with the time showing up, for the land's sakes. Birch scales, about a 4-inch. Nice. Very, very nice. And those are your first knives? I think that's great work for your first knives. Because when you're starting at that kind of level of work, then once you get to like 10 or 20 knives, your stuff is going to be really sweet. I like it. All right. Linda's asking, anyone know where I'll likely see moose in Algonquin? I say just look out your car window and you'll probably see them. Oh, yeah, okay. So Canadian says can be seen right off the highway. Drive down the highway. Tenenbaum says everywhere. If you start at Canoe, you can usually spot some on Joe, which is one lake north. Yeah, Liz says nice size, nice knives, good job, JD. And I think, yeah, for your first knives, those are terrific. Absolutely. Wait, Steve Mito says, zinc in my cabin froze. What a mess cleaning this up. Zinc? Like, did you have a pot of zinc and it froze and blew up or something? Welcome to the live stream, by the way, Steve. You know, Lena, it's funny because when I used to go moose hunting, we went to this. We had there was a tree farm. I'm just going to start that whole sentence again because I just with my stepfather-in-law. I guess we used to go moose hunting at a tree farm owned by my wife's cousin in the Gaspé in Gaspésie. Beautiful area, spectacular at night on a clear night because it was like a dark sky zone. Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Moose everywhere. Didn't see one the entire time we were hunting. Next year, didn't see one the entire time when we were hunting. But that time, we pile in the car, and we're sort of pulling out of the property onto the highway, and there's one standing right there looking at us, just flipping us the bird with his big panache. Good times, people. Oh, kitchen sink. Okay. Sorry, Steve. I didn't. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, I get it. Sorry. Sink. The steel is from my father-in-law's retired saw blades. The scale for a birch I dropped in my front yard. I love it. Oh, that's cool because that means that you know the history behind everything that went into that knife. I mean, it may not be like decades and decades, but it's still you knew where the metal came from. You knew where the birch came from. Terrific. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Now I want to see some videos of it in action, man. Last week I was doing a little bit of low level internet trolling looking for I still have the idea that once the plague dissipates a little bit and things get back to normal, that I could do that Nesmic trio series of videos. So sorry guys. So I sort of low level, almost non-actively taking a look for the little folding penknife that the same style that he would have used, and a nice Nesmic knife. I saw a nice one that I think I'm going to get. Hey, Bettina's here. How's it going? And JD says that the twin blades are for your sons. Nice. Very nice. So I think that the Nesmic knife that I'm going to get. Let's see if I can just Bushcraft can hello typing. There we go. It's an Enzo, I think. Oh, that's an Enzo Trapper. Nice knife, but not what I'm looking for. Enzo has a Kephart kit as well. I don't want to have a knife collection, but I would love to have a Nesmuk and a Kephart. Here we go. Boom. I shall now share as a screen with you guys. So I think I'm going to get that. Whoops. Hide the current comment. I think I'm going to get that maybe later on in the year. Dennis will be right back. That's all right. Because I saw that one and got a little whoo. So that's what I'm going to use as the actual Nesmuk knife. I'm a little less sure about which little canoe knife or pen knife or whatever the hell they're called to get, though. And this knife, by the way, has gone way up in price over the course of the last year. This used to be $150. Now the kit version is $150. It's $150. The reason I want this one instead of the kit version is because I like that curly birch handle. I like my wooden handles. For those of you who are hitting Algonquin this year, or Northern Ontario in general, when's your black fly season? When's the mosquito season? I kind of feel that if I was to go into that part of the world, I would want to go like either before the end of May or kind of the end of August, maybe. Does that sound right? Yeah, Raven, it's okay. I'm not gonna. I'll stop sharing. I'm not gonna let this descend into knife talk for the rest of the night or anything. It's not what we're talking about tonight. But David, the blade is it's 80 CRV2. So, and what's nice about it is it's left with a really sort of a rough texture, like the forging texture, which I like. Okay, that's a good point, Nate. Yeah. Yeah, I see Tenenbaum and Nate are going in the same place here. My favorite time to camp is fall. Just because I like the colors. I like not sweating. I like the cooler air. It's got a snap to it. If you're in a place with like a lot of birches or something like that, or aspens, where the leaves go yellow. I love the look of like these white trunks with yellow leaves. It makes, man, the light is magical. I also love the specific shade of green that happens in the first blush of spring. Someone once told me what that green is called, and I can't remember. Jeez, I can't remember. It's a real special shade of green. Yeah, I don't. It's gone. I don't know, but it's such a nice, optimistic shade of green. Youthful greenery. Whew. Your last Northern Ontario trip was in June '83. I think you got to get up there, man. You got to get up there. The tea's finished. Which means I can now go into my scotchy scotch. I often wonder, and I've said this on live streams before, and we've sort of talked about it, how I wonder how people dealt with black flies when, before DEET and stuff like that. Like 300 years ago, like how did the natives deal with it? PT goodness, folks. PT goodness. Just wiping off my hands because I sloshed a little bit of scotch. David and a buddy of his canoed Algonquin every summer at one point. That sounds nice. Those are like full week or 2 week trips. And hey Nate, I think how much canoeing are you planning on doing this? Like you can get out and do a little paddle almost whenever you want, right? Like you can just sort of hit the water on the weekly or even more, right? Because you live really close to it. You found that wearing your black felt hat was a huge mistake. I feel that I would not go without a bug net around my head. Wide brim hat, like maybe my Tilly or something, and a bug net. Okay. Obviously, depending on thaw and everything. Okay. I used to have property in Dorset, so you were constantly out in Algonquin. Nice. Hey, Dr. Sharp is here. How's it going? The extinction of a bird that changed the colors of fall foliage. Which bird was that? Navy whites help keep the black flies away. Lighter colors. Hey, Nate. How's it going, mister?
Hang on, mic or something. Hang on.
Okay.
Jess, can you hear me?
Yep, sure thing. Can you hear us? Us being me? What?
Yeah, I can hear you kind of faintly. I might try to turn off my Bluetooth connection and then rejoin real quick. Okay, sorry.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Steve, I love the Gaspé. It's just beautiful out there. How's it going, Nate? He's still having some tech issues. That's all right. He'll be back on pretty soon, I think. Provided he can get those tech issues sorted out. I would like to go and see Nate in his store one day and buy something off of him. I have bought something from him, actually. I bought a PFT. But I'd like to go in and actually shake, well, maybe not shake his hand, COVID times, bump elbows or whatever the hell we're supposed to do. Bump.
There we go.
Are we good?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just adjusting the windows here, seeing what we can... What's that paddle behind you, by the way? Is that like a badger?
Is a badger paddle made by Mike Ramsey, who now works for Bill Swift of Swift Canoe, but for a while there, he had his own paddle making company by the name of Badger. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it, but yeah, they're beautiful one-piece paddles made out of cherry.
Is Badger not around anymore then?
Yeah, they are. They're just manufactured slightly differently, but still locally in Gravenhurst. in a Swift Canoe location.
Okay,
That's still
so
overseen by Mike Ramsey.
okay, yeah, I thought that was a Badger when I saw it.
Yeah.
It was, and uh, what's that other paddle company that seems to be back in business?
Hunter and Harris.
Hunter and Harris seem to be back, which
Yeah,
is
they
cool.
are. I
Although
think they're being
different now.
distributed by Novacraft, but I think they have a couple other dealers as well, which is exciting for those guys because I know they took a bit of a break through COVID.
Yeah.
Expectantly so. But now it seems like they're back on their game, and it's exciting to see because they make beautiful paddles.
Oh, yeah, holy crap! They look. It looks like they're doing a slightly different product line than they used to before the whole COVID stuff.
Yeah, I think they're making. I think they're making a bit more of like sort of a mass market paddle shape, but still individually crafted, which I think is really appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah, I love them. Way too rich for my blood, but I do love them. I think they look spectacular. It's funny to say you love them when, like, that's a personal choice, right? Like, you got to feel it. You got to try a few out before. So I love the look of them, and I like the fact that it's, I like the manufacturing and all that stuff. I like that about Badger as well, that it's got this sort of small company mystique. Because as I will never stop saying, I do love paying even a little extra for a smaller outfit than.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you've got a paddle in your hands and it makes your boat go, then all the power to you.
Yeah.
And you know what? People can get anywhere with the $10 Canadian Tire paddle, and that's just fine as well. And for the folks that are more into that kind of thing, then there's a ton of really cool local sort of crafts people that are making locally sourced canoe paddles, which is awesome to see, and they're actually doing really well with it, which is even better to see.
Which is great, yeah. And I also have to say that I feel that sometimes when I say that I'd rather spend more on a small outfit than almost nothing on a cookie cutter thing, that kind of does come across, I think, as slightly snobbish, especially coming from someone who can't really afford to always pay that extra. And if you're on the water, then no matter what, it was good. Anything that gets more people sort of enjoying the outdoors is legit. It's just a personal choice because of kind of my personal politics that I'd rather pay a smaller outfit that's not an international conglomeration. That's all I'm going to say about that, because no politics here. But I just like to point out that Tenenbaums is on his game tonight. He's reworking memes left, right, and center, I see.
Yeah, I mean, if you know what, if a $10 canoe paddle is what it takes to get you on the water and get going, then all the power to you, and hopefully that leads to sort of a better you wanting a better experience, and down the road, picking something up a little more in tune
Spendy
to your personal preferences.
And at the end of the day, you can't beat the lack of maintenance that a plastic and aluminium paddle calls for, right?
No, totally, absolutely, yeah.
Where was it? David is asking you if you can recommend what to look for in a good paddle.
Well, make sure it is your length, and so you can visit 1,000 websites that'll tell you 1,000 different ways to size your paddle. But generally speaking, if you can grasp the paddle at the handle, and then at the bottom of the haft where it meets the blade, and then bring it up to your eyebrows, and if your left and right hands can make a 90-degree angle on both sides, then that is a pretty good length. So you can give and take a few inches on either side of that. But I would say if you're a seat sitter, if you sit in your seat on your canoe, then generally it means you're a little bit more above the water than someone that kneels. So you'd want something maybe a little longer. And if you're someone that kneels in the bottom of their canoe a lot, then you'd want something that's maybe just a tiny bit shorter. And you might think that the 2 to 4 inches difference is a little silly. But over the course of a long day, if you're sitting or kneeling and using a paddle that's too long or too short, your shoulders and your back will absolutely feel it.
Yeah. And that sort of gets back to what I was saying, that a paddle is a very personal thing, right? You got to feel it before you should be plonking your dollars down. You know. And,
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, if you're heading out in your uncle's canoe or whatever, and just sizing up a paddle from a bunch that are in the shed, you know what? If you can put your top hand on the handle and the bottom end near the blade, and lift it up to your eyebrows and make 90-degree angles with both your arms, you're good to go.
You're good to go. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, I spend a lot of time in stores messing around in the paddles. Sort of. I mean, it feels ridiculous to buy one now before I get the actual canoe, but I spend a lot of time playing around with the paddles. Tenenbaum says he still has his first mohawk, though it took on a subtle curve over time for being used on the same face most of the time. I don't use it much anymore, but it's still fine. Tenenbaum's got himself a cool Novacraft canoe. I'm just taking a look. David is asked.
Sounds like a nice paddle. A subtle curve over time would only take shape from sort of being left out in the sun or being used a lot. So that's pretty cool.
Well, at one point, Tenenbaum paddled a lot. David is asking, what about the width of the blade? Is it better in the stern of the canoe? Is wider better in the stern of the canoe? Now, I thought that wide was more of a shallow water or a river canoe.
Oh, that's dipping into a real personal preference here. So basically, sort of the general reference point for at least kind of the Ontario or Quebec market is sort of an otter tail or a modified otter tail shape.
Yeah.
Which looks just kind of like it sounds, sort of like an elongated, fairly symmetrical teardrop at the end of the handle. And that basically displaces sort of an equal amount of surface area over the blade of the paddle relative to its length. But I'll say this: so if you have someone on your canoe journey that is basically going to sit in the front because you're going to be the one steering and they're going to push water, then generally speaking, they want a shorter paddle with a wider blade, and that's going to push more water more efficiently because you're going to be the one in the stern steering. Now, if you're the one in the stern steering, you sort of want a blade that's going to have a good equilibrium of sort of a surface area to length ratio where you can perform all your steering strokes adequately without creating too much drag behind your canoe. And that, generally speaking, looks sort of like an otter tail or sort of a slender otter tail. And yeah, without getting too nerdy about it, I would just say that it's sort of whatever you're comfortable with steering your canoe and having someone in the bow basically be your motor.
My approach whenever I buy anything changed massively about... I started this channel in 2013, I think, and around that time was when this philosophy took shape. I was always someone who grew up, like, if everyone bought the Fender bass, then I bought some boutique-y, rare company that no one had ever heard of. if possible. And, you know, like I was that way about everything. And I gradually came around to wanting, and the reason I'm talking about when I started this channel is because when I chose the camera that I started this channel with, it was a Canon 7D. And I chose that because it was, in many ways, the quasi-official camera of the independent filmmaker B camera team. Okay. So what that meant was if I had any problem at all with that camera, I knew that if I looked online, 4 people would have had that problem and 3 of them would have solved it in one way or another. And that came to really be my philosophy in everything. And so the bases that I keep showing off, much to people's chagrin, I'm sure, like I have one one high-end boutique base and one Fender Precision base. I never would have owned the Fender before, but it's that way with everything. If you get a generalist thing, it'll do more things well, but nothing spectacularly well. But if you also get the basic that many people have, which can either be a brand name or it can be a form, like an otter tail paddle instead of a, you know, what are those really elongated ones called? Whatever. Like the most sort of polyvalent thing is usually, I don't know what polyvalent is. Sort of the most sort of generalist item you have is what you'll find in most people's hands, and it's probably that way for a reason. Now, there's a trap there. It could be because there's a brand that puts out something very, very popular because they've got a brilliant marketing team, right? Like I've been bit that way before. Like everyone's got this, there's got to be magic to it. And then I buy it and like, this is pap. But it's pap that was extremely well marketed. So, I mean, like, I'm all like, I've got all these great philosophies. And then every now and again, so, you know, you can take that philosophy and stuff it. But like, I like what you said, Nate, about that otter tail being sort of almost ubiquitous, because I've seen some people paddling in Quebec, and it seems that the otter tail is not rare at all. And before I'd actually seen people in the water. What's the other one called? Like a beaver tail? Is am I making up a word? I seem to remember beaver tail. It's a slightly different. Well, I guess you might make the case that
Yeah,
it's a
so
very different shape.
like
But
a beaver tail will look sort of like a teardrop,
yeah,
right?
a little shorter.
And it's pretty common. And what's nice about a beaver tail is it pushes a lot of water no matter where you're sitting. To finesse steering strokes, it's not quite as efficient as something like an otter tail or a more slender blade. But hey, if you were to, like, you know, anyone going on a canoe trip, if you were to give everybody in the canoe a beaver tail, you know, everybody would do just fine, right?
I see a lot of beaver tails in rental places.
Yeah.
You know, or like Airbnbs that have a canoe, right? Anyone who's sort of just trying to put something out that everyone can use, it seems that there's a lot of beaver tails. But when I do see people who are putting their own boat in the drink, I see a lot of otter tails, and I keep sort of wondering why, you know, because it seems to me that they're both pretty widely. I'm running out of English here. You know, I keep going back to that word polyvalent because that's the word that I use. But
you know what? It's just personal preference. You know, I think it's sort of funny where if you know, you were sitting somewhere in the boundary of waters in northern Minnesota, Jess, we'd be talking about different lengths of bend shaft paddles, because
oh yeah,
everybody down there paddles a bend shaft, right?
really,
And they swear by it, and they look at you know, they look at these Canadians with their otter tail straight shaft paddles,
right?
like we're silly, right? So it is real. It just comes down to personal preference, and you know, I think you know, whatever paddle gets you on the water right now, until you can make your own decision, is the right one to paddle with. as long
Right.
as it doesn't kill your back.
Yeah, of course. And I'm of an age where that is kind of a worry.
Yeah.
I have 3 or 4 things I want to pop up on screen, but I want to start with the same question. Dennis has asked the question I've been sort of trying to come around to. What you got on that wall?
Oh, yeah. I told I told Jess earlier. This is a Badger otter tail
Otter tail.
that was made for me by Mike, and then a charcoal print of a Grey Jay that my father did in charcoal when he was in high school.
The Grey Jay, also called the Whiskey Jack. And I want to point out, oh, piss, I've lost it. I'm looking for Tenenbaum here. Tenenbaum. He says, aluminium shaft, millions of strokes. Going back to when you were saying that if it's bent, it must have been used a lot. And then he says,
"Oh no, I mean a bent shaft paddle is a particular design that's."
No, he's going back to when he said that his mohawk has sort of gotten all bent from use.
Oh, okay.
And he then says, well, he actually has a link to it.
Nice. Okay, I get you.
Yep.
I get you. Right
on. David's paddles are Canadian Tire specials. Maybe it's time to upgrade. Oh,
hey, you know what, David? As yeah, if the Canadian Tire paddles are still doing it for you, all the power to you. If you paddle, I would say if you paddle every weekend, then yeah, maybe you might want to look at something that might feel a little bit more comfy in your hands over time, and something that'll maybe last you a little longer. Yeah. And I see XN bomb, and that bent shaft culture filters up to Quetico too. Oh yeah. I mean, once you start talking about bent shaft paddle sizing, it's like you might as well be immersed in the world of like Pokemon Go or something. Like it's just bizarro world out there.
Well, Linda says, I love my bent shaft kayak paddle.
Yeah, bent shaft kayak paddle is a bit more ubiquitous because the bends of the shafts in a kayak paddle don't differ too greatly from design to design. They're all sort of the same kind of angles, with the intention that the user will have less wear and tear on their wrists, on their elbows, on their joints, because of the way the kayak shaft paddle is designed.
You're essentially getting more power for less work, is that it? Or equal power for less work?
Yeah, totally. And it's a lot easier on your wrists and on your elbows and on your shoulders, because it keeps everything sort of in line a little bit more naturally.
But yeah.
It's more expensive to manufacture as well, so you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm a classicist. I like the old style of almost everything.
Well, I guarantee if you went paddling in a kayak with a Greenland paddle, you would probably not enjoy it. But there are those out there that will paddle with a Greenland paddle that swear by them, and they look like you're playing pickup sticks.
Yeah, that's a little further than I like to go.
Yeah.
I'm getting to be of an age where I'm going to have to start making choices based on effort to performance ratio rather than sort of the romance of the old way, the way I used to. I do want to point out, Dennis asked me what outdoor stores are around me for outdoor gear. It's not great here. We got MEC, which is Mountain Equipment Co-op, for those of you who don't live in Canada. We have Atmosphere, which I believe outside of Quebec is called Atmosphere. We've got there's not a lot of stuff. If Simon's still here, he's probably like typing up a half dozen places because he knows this stuff better than I do. But we don't have a lot around Montreal. Now, when I met Tenenbaum in Ottawa, we went to a terrific, well, if you're used to your options being atmosphere and mech, this place was terrific. It was the Something Rather paddle shop in Ottawa. I don't remember what it was actually called, but Tenenbaum can probably. Trailhead Paddle Shack, yeah. And what I liked about that place was that there were all these paddles that we could take out and play with, and there were these beautiful, like swift canoes. Like that's where I first saw a swift canoe in person, aside from the 9 that are in the basement of my daughter's school. It was like I got to actually touch all these things that I've been looking at pictures of, and picking people's minds about, like Nate and Dennis and Martin. I actually got to touch these things, and they had those canvas and leather backpacks, Ile Royale, like all this stuff that I've been like drooling over on screen. I actually got to touch. And one thing I will tell you is that the Ile Royale, Ile Royale's the pack name, not the company name. Why am I? But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And so their trademark pack is way too big for me. Way too big. That pack makes me feel like I'm even shorter than I am. But they make a junior. They make 2 of the smaller ones, and one of those, either the junior or whatever's the other one, is good. It's good for me. But that's the kind of thing that you need to be able to walk into a good shop with people who know what they're doing and try on. Because I never would have known that. Could you imagine I had spent what those things cost for a full-size Ile Royale pack, and I got it and I put it on and was like, what do you do then? Well, I mean, I guess you can just send it back, but I mean, the disappointment of opening it up the first time.
Like that. Yeah, I mean, something like that you're putting weight into and then putting it on your back and you're counting on it. You want to make sure it fits, right? For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Frost River, thank you, Tenenbaum. That's what I was looking for, but I'm kind of dumb.
Yeah, Frost River and Duluth still makes packs as well.
Duluth, yeah, also very nice packs.
Yeah.
Hi, Grace. And there's a one guy. There's a one-man shop that makes really nice leather and canvas packs, and the name is totally escaping me right now, but he's in one of my gift guide videos, and I don't remember what his name is, what his company name is, but his packs are really nice as well, sort of in the Ile Royale, the Duluth pack kind of on their side of the business, right? It's canvas and leather.
Steve just sorry, I'm on my phone and I'm looking at a TV. But Steve just had a good question. What should I put on my paddle?
Oh, I see that. Yep, I'm putting it on screen.
Original, nothing on it, just something to protect it. If all you have near you is a Home Depot, then just go and get some linseed oil, and slather it up and let it dry out.
Yeah, because I believe that both
a nice clean rag. So
the Badger and the
linseed oil, you can buy a gallon jug of it for $20 at Home Depot, and do that for it.
Yeah, because that Badger paddle behind you, that came oiled rather than varnished, right?
Yes, it did.
And I believe the Hunter and Harris as well are oiled rather than varnished.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So every now and then you want to oil it just to keep it from drying out. But basically the argument for an oiled paddle versus a varnished paddle, of course, is that the oil impregnates the paddle with its water repellency, as opposed to just a varnish, which can dry and crack and let water into the paddle over time. So,
well, that's the thing. That's why I like, if ever I buy a tool or like a shovel or a garden implement, anything that's going to be outside and it comes with a varnish on it, I strip that crap right off. I strip it off right away, because as soon as it starts getting cracked and water starts seeping in, and no freaking way, I get that off right away. I don't have a single axe handle that has that varnish on it either, No. Tenenbaum says that Ile Royale pack is 5,000 Corona there. Oh. Woo! Man. Whew. So funny thing, Tenenbaum actually smuggled something for me. I bought an axe in Sweden. He didn't smuggle it. I'm making it. I'm dramatizing it. But I didn't want to. Yeah, whatever it is, and I believe that axe was like, was it 2,500 krona or 2,000 krona? It was expensive as hell, but the shipping was so expensive that I said, "Can I have it shipped to you and you can bring it?" And so that's what he did. And we met up in Ottawa, and that's when we went to the paddle shack place where I got to play with all these beautiful things. Great little carving knife, axe. What? Great little carving axe. Hasn't seen a lot of use because I haven't been doing a lot of spoon carving lately, but very nice. It's an axe by the hell's her name? She used to be the CEO of Wetterlings. My mind is like a steel sieve. I spend all day being chased around by kids and trying to get my work done. So like I'm a wreck. Hold on, I'm just gonna look her up because this is so pro. What is her name? Oh, it's Yulia Kaltov. So I bought one of her axes. Just taking a look. Linda says, I have an old, shiny, symmetrical heavy wood paddle. It was my first paddle. I'm going to hang it on the wall in the tiny house.
Sweet.
And Tenenbaum, yes, also says Yulia Kaltov. It's funny because I have this thing where I want to get my daughter outdoor gear, but I'm not going to buy her a paddle, man. In the past year, she's grown 1.5 inches. Right? I think that's the kind of thing that you start to buy your kids when they're sort of slowing down on the growth. Because I want to buy her something nice. I always want to buy her something nice. I always want to spend more on her than I would on myself. Because
you know what, Jess? I think the better idea is to buy her something like a really nice one-piece paddle after she completes, sort of an end of high school canoe trip, which is how, sort of most of it goes down around here as far as graduation goes, or
it's
senior summer camps in the park. Upon completion of those kind of like higher level canoe trips or graduation, that's when you get like an actual, one-piece cherry paddle that's sized to you, because you've done something special and completed a
rite of passage
trip,
stuff,
and you're also sort of graduating / maybe done growing for now, right?
Yeah, like a rite of passage kind of thing. That makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. Canoe, Canadian Tire specials until then, just because they're more affordable and she's still growing. Or like the next video I put up for this channel, I hope, or the one after that, depending on editing time, we're finally using that knife that I made for her. And it's like we got to get on that, because that knife was made for a small girl. She's not really a small girl anymore. So if we waited another year, it would probably be like maybe instead of a 4-finger knife, it'd be more like a 3.5-finger knife. So
yeah.
So I'm glad that we got to, and it's funny because her interest in the outdoors has been kind of tapering off, because due to the plague, we haven't actually been doing any of that. So she's been sort of switching into iPad and chatting with friends kind of thing. And so I said, hey, come outside and let's do a video. And she's like, okay. And I sort of gave her the knife and said, all right, let's do it. And by the end of that afternoon, she was like right back into the outdoorsy girl who she used to be,
Awesome.
I don't know if that'll last, but it was nice to see her bona fide enjoying. Like, she likes the hikes, right? She'll run up a rock cliff and everything, but the bushcraft side of it, because I have no control over my mouth tonight. That interest sort of depends on how often we're doing it. If if we don't do it fairly relatively often, then her interest will sort of start to taper off. But she's always up for a hike.
Nice. Well, that's good. Got to keep going with that, and hopefully it progresses, right?
That is, to bring it full circle, that is one of my plans for 2022. Just keep getting her the woods time, because she clearly loves it when we're there, you know. But she does get easily distracted by, chatting with friends. And there's a boy who's noticed her. I mean, like, God, you're 10.
Oh, boy.
You're 10. Please don't do this to me for another 6 years. It's not gonna happen.
Anyways, Jess, I like I said, when I messaged you, I hope this is the year we actually meet face to face.
Yeah, I think that if I plan something far enough ahead and just block off the time, block off like a long weekend.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm doing in X month, then it'll happen. I realize that because of, for all sorts of reasons that I'm not going to go into here, it's nobody's fault. It's just the schedule fills up with work stuff, unless I just, or the wife just blocks off a certain amount of time. It's just too easy for us to lose control of it. So
yeah, very true for all of us. But hopefully we can figure something out. And to everybody tuning in tonight, I hope everyone's plans for 2022 just include more time outside, because it's nothing but a good thing.
It's nothing but a good thing. It's good for your headspace, right?
Yeah, whether it's filling the bird feeder or going on a long distance canoe trip or trailer camping 30 minutes away from you, it's all good stuff.
It's all good stuff. Absolutely.
Yep. On that note, I'm going to sign off for the night. But yeah, it was good chatting with you, Jess.
All right. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out for a while.
Likewise. Take care. All right.
Bye. Nate doesn't do a lot on YouTube, but for those of you who don't know, he's very active on Instagram. He's got a terrific Instagram account. A lot of nice photos. He's doing a lot of stuff outdoors. It really does the heads some good to look at his Instagram when I can't get into the woods. Dr. Sharp says he's been getting a bit of winter camping, and that's nice. Do you have a tent, or do you have to borrow or rent, Dr. Sharp? David Evans is falling asleep because apparently we're not interesting enough. All right, Liz. See you later. Have yourself a good night. Just making sure I'm not getting too late on the chat, the chit chat, the chitting of chat. Oh, holy crap. You showed up just in time for, well, actually, no, we've still got another 10 minutes to go, don't we? No, 6 minutes. No, dear, I'm not using the SM7B just yet because I ordered the Fet Head. I think I told you I ordered a Fet Head. I was trying to decide between that and the Cloud Lifter, and I went for the Fet Head because it was half the price, and apparently it's just as good. So, but I didn't order from Amazon, so the shipping has not yet happened. I ordered from, I think, Vistec in Toronto, but they don't ship as quickly as Amazon does. That's for sure. Yeah, Dennis, he's very, very knowledgeable, which I love. And by the way, you said that you had 2 Hunter and Harris paddles. I think you need to either do a video on them, or just maybe do a video call with me one day to show them to me, because the first time I saw Hunter and Harris, I think I just saw a video of them building them or something, and like putting the logo on. I was just sold on them. Just sold. And then when they stopped working, which I guess was due to COVID now, I was like, no, you can't do this. I want to buy one of your paddles one day. So it's nice to see them back in business. Absolutely. Dave, aren't you all about the dad jokes? Isn't that like what you do best? Oh, Bettina's out. All right. No, wait. Is Bettina out? No, it's just Liz is out. Someone's out. Someone's gone to bed. I don't think it's Bettina. I think it's Liz because she said she was heading to bed. But yeah, I cannot wait to get that SM7B into action. Like, it's not gonna make my live streams better or anything. It's just I'm gonna like the sound of them better, and I've wanted one of these for years, and I could not justify that kind of money. And for Christmas, I asked my wife to just give me some money towards it rather than buying it for me. So I was thrilled to open that, let me tell you. Dr. Sharp is Eureka Assault Outfitter Base Camp and a... Okay. I've settled on the tent I'm going to buy, I think. It's an Esker 10x10 Classic 2, I think. But I keep looking at... There's another company here in Quebec called Atuk. And his tents look pretty cool too. But I think I'm going to go for the Esker. Canoe Hound says he has a Norseman and a Thompson made by Hunter and Harris. Yeah, there's a real magic to those paddles. They're really, really nice. Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, Dave. I mean, it's the sound of North American radio. It's the sound of a lot of the podcasts I listen to, like 99% Invisible. Just so many of the more radio-ish podcasts I listen to. The sound of the BBC is slightly different because they have long used, I don't know if they still do, but they used to use the it's a ribbon mic. It was originally made in like the 40s, and they've just kept, I don't remember what they're called. Coopers? No, it's not Coopers. Anyways, but like the sound of the CBC and stuff, it's all this SM7B. Oh, are you kidding me? Dennis just bought the Esker 10x10 Classic 2. Oh, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that then, because that's what I looked at. Like I looked at a lot of tents. There was that. What is it? Is it Snow Peak? No, Snow Trekker. What's sort of the big American one with like the poles and everything? Actually, I think, is that what we see in the Up North of 60 videos? I don't remember, but I sort of, something about that Classic 2, the Esker Classic 2, really sort of got me where I lived. Good price comparatively. It looks like a good amount of space for one or maybe two people. The Atuk are nice, especially because it's a one-man operation. He also makes stoves. One of my bosses in my day job, in fact, her husband has the Atuk tent and the Atuk stove, but he says don't buy the stove. The tent, he says, is terrific. Don't buy the stove. Snow Trekker, yes, that's what I'm thinking. They also seem more expensive. And I do believe that they're very different in that they've got a more engaged frame generally. I don't know everything about Snow Trekker. I just saw one that looked rectangular. Dr. Sharp wanted to get something that would survive major thunderstorms. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Steve is asking what I'm drinking. I'm drinking an Ardbeg Ugadal. This is a bottle I bought a few years ago, and am going to work on bottling down, because it's at the point in the bottle where it's there, and I now have a new bottle of it. I got a gift from someone very kind. Down here is where you start to think, okay, just finish it off. Because up here, you could keep it for years and you will not have any problem with the quality of the juice. Up here, years and years and years. Once you get down to, like, even here, long time. But once you get down to about there, use it up. Bottle down. Because it will reduce in quality as time goes on. Because at that point, there's just too much air in the bottle. It oxidizes way too fast. Dennis, how are the prices through Nate compared to Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company? Because the only place I've looked is at Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company. But I mean, when I bought my PF personal flotation device PFD through Nate, it was such a problem-free experience that if the price is the same, then I would probably just buy off of Nate. Tenenbaum likes Eureka Johnson Industries stuff. It's well made and generally good value. And here's the thing: if Tenenbaum says he likes a tent company, you can take that to the bank. I mean, he knows a lot about tents. He's got classic tents like you guys wouldn't believe. I keep trying to get on his arse about putting out a channel. Like, he doesn't even have to appear on screen, right? You can do the sort of just the hands and look at the thing, voiceover and stuff. But because I just think he's got so much knowledge that it would be great to see that out there. Girl in the Woods YouTube on wall tents. I've seen some of her videos, but I don't think I've watched that one. But I'm going to go and look for it. Tenenbaum's first tent was a Eureka, and it lasted through many seasons of hard use. And I know Tenenbaum used to use his outdoor stuff pretty hard, like professionally, which is cool. David just checked out the Esker tent. Yeah, it looks really cool to me. Here's the thing, like, there are certain things that I judge and research and buy and like get to try out before I buy. But I feel like a real dilettante when it comes to this stuff and paddles because, well, I've held some paddles, but I've never held a paddle with intention to buy a paddle in a boat kind of thing. I've had paddles in boats. I've held paddles in the store, but I've never been like, okay, this, and then sort of sat down on the ground or whatever and tried to sort of pretend to. Like, the way I look at sizing a paddle is I do what Nate was talking about, right? 90 degrees. Okay. Buy it. Whereas Kevin Callan, who most of you know, he did a video and he said that, this is great for basics, but you should really sort of try to work it out a little more. It's a good video, which I obviously didn't post down below because I didn't know we were going to talk about this tonight. And I feel the same, like, very dilettantish when talking about winter tents because I've completely based my decisions on what I've seen and read. I have no experience winter camping, like none. So I'll make this purchase and then I'm just going to hope to hell that it works out for me. Because I'd like to make that purchase in 2022. I'd like to make that part of my plan for this year. It's a big purchase, though. So it's an expensive mistake if you duff it and you buy something that's like, this isn't what I wanted. Everything I've read about it says it's going to be ideal for what I want to do. And I'm just going to trust that that's it. Because I don't see myself suddenly becoming an experienced winter camper and buying a tent in 2022. It doesn't work that way. I'm sort of losing the. All right. Oops. Mark Putmans is going to. Oh yeah, it's because we're after 11. Okay, I'm going to shut this thing down pretty soon then. Okay, so the prices are the same across the board. All right, that's good to know. Dr. Sharp is talking to Tenenbaum about the Assault Outfitter 4 holding a small puddle on the top, but if you guy it out right, that does not happen. That's good to know. There's an interesting, yeah, exactly. As Tenenbaum is saying, you gotta do your guidelines properly in any kind of tent. You gotta keep them. Like, I've walked through a lot of campsites and seen people who clearly had no idea what they were doing. Right, droopy ass tents. I'm like, if it rains or if there's a big wind, you guys are gonna be pissed off. And I feel that you can't. You got to do it right. Oh, David Evans is out as well. All right. Good night, mister. Yeah, Tenenbaum brings out Outdoor Gear Review, who I've seen before. Reviews tons of tents and does a good job. Tends not to bother with the guidelines. Yeah, but that's silly. You need to whatevs. Yeah, Dennis. You know what? All right. Good night. Have a good one. And I do believe we're at 6 past 2300 hours, so I think I'm gonna shut her down here. Gonna go to bed. I got 2 kids to deal with, so I got to be up and in good shape in the morning. So we're going to shut her down here, and I will see you guys next week. I hope 2022, one of my plans is to bring back my interview series. So I'm hoping that will be very, very soon, the first episode of that. But I'm not ready to do that for next week yet, just yet. So between now and next week, be safe, be healthy, be sane, be kind to one another. Good night, guys.